And today's session is with Alexandra Burke, and she's going to be talking about students on the edge and students in the back and on the edge, and your neurodiverse students and your teaching methods. So I have at the bottom of my screen, I have turned on live transcript, and I can see the subtitles of what I am saying. If you go to the bottom of your Zoom screen, you should see a button called live transcript. And if you click on that, you can see this text of what I am saying. If you want, you can turn it on or off as you like. So with that, no further ado, I would like to welcome Alexandra Burke.
Thank you very much, everybody. And thank you very much for giving up part of your Sunday. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, okay, great. Okay, and the first thing I'd like to start with is just a little bit about me. I'm originally from Australia. I grew up in a household where neurodiversity was kind of normal, like everybody was, and we never really thought about it and we never really commented about it because we knew that my older brother had difficulty reading and writing, but he wasn't challenged in other areas. And we knew that there were just things you didn't say them, because what's the point of making somebody feel bad about something that they have absolutely zero control over? So, and we didn't judge anybody on what they could or couldn't do, because everybody was just different. That was the household attitude. It was a house full of books. My father was crazy about books, particularly about encyclopedias. We had 3 sets of encyclopedias, and there was a children's set, a Britannica, and a world set. And we had thousands of books in the house, which I guess for a household of dyslexics is probably unusual, or maybe it isn't. I don't know, because I didn't grow up with any other dyslexic households. But I'd like to ask Linda, have you got the question to put in the poll? Do you have that? I can't hear you, Linda. You are muted.
I thought you had the question.
Ah, no, I thought I'd given it to you.
Okay.
Hang on a second. I'll just grab it. Unless you've got it there, I will grab it. Just one moment. Okay. Excuse me a second. Okay. Okay, here we go.
So in the chat.
So in the chat, I'm going to put this in the chat, and I'd like you to raise your hands if you can. Raise your hands if this applies to you. If you want to raise your hand, there's a reaction button, and please raise your hand. Oh, there's people coming in. So I'll just share my screen so you can just see how, I'll share my screen so you can see where the raise button is. Just a moment. So you should be able to see my Zoom screen now. Oh, hang on a second. Oh, here we go. Oh, there's a window in the way. No, that's not doing what I expected. Okay, I'll just unshare that. All right. Okay, so how many hands have we got?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, let's
6,
put them into
7,
gallery view.
8. Yeah.
Okay, we're looking like we've got a pretty much a clean sweep. Yeah, there's lots of hands going up. Okay, so, and there's a few hands that haven't gone up, but this is in every single classroom. There are people who are having difficulty right now knowing what they're going to do in your classroom, and they may well be anxious about it. And it's something that becomes evident when children are really small, and it, as in under 5. Okay, we've got 17 raised hands, 18 raised hands. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so it's something that's universal. It's not only Japan, it is not only Australia or America, it's everywhere. And I'd like you to very quickly watch a short video. And I am going to share my screen. I'll just set this up and then I'm going to share this for you. And there we go. And we're only going to watch a couple of minutes of it, but we're going to see a very interesting video. And I'm going to grab Chrome. Here we go. And right. Okay, and play. Oh, just a minute. I'm going to turn off the sound. Turn on the sound. Share screen. Lots of things to remember to do. Okay, share, sign, optimize. Okay, and share. No, this is what's called crashing and burning. And share. And where's the Google? That's odd. Google has just disappeared. Chrome has disappeared. Okay. Zoom. Back to Zoom and oh, here we go. Got it. Okay, and share. Sorry for that. Okay. Can you hear this?
Taking these figures as rough guides, 15% of the population are dyslexic, 40% of self-made millionaires are dyslexic, 50% of people in prison are dyslexic, 52% of teachers have had no dyslexia training in the UK, and 9 in 10 of those that did said that it was under an hour. 80% of students in the UK that are dyslexic are undiagnosed, and 95% of parents said they felt they lacked the knowledge and resources to support their dyslexic child. £300 to £700 is the cost of a dyslexia assessment.
My name is Sarah Simblett. I'm an artist and a writer, and I've been working at the University of Oxford for the last 25 years as the tutor in anatomy at the Ruskin School of Art, and then more recently as the tutor for fine art at Christchurch. I've not been formally diagnosed with dyslexia, but I proudly claim that I am, because I recognise that those students I've been working with for years who are struggling with aspects of dyslexia, I just think, well, that's how my brain works, and also those are the same struggles that I had at school. I learned how to spell writing a PhD because it was the first time I was on computer. And so there's this marvelous thing that puts red lines under everything. So I have a game with the red line system. I love it because it rescues me from the embarrassment of people's criticism and judgment about my ability to spell. And I feel very angry about that and cross because I don't have any difficulty with using language. I love language. I've been a storyteller all my life. I'm a creative writer. I enjoy writing. I've published books if it helps people to know that. But sure, I don't put the letters in quite the right order, and who cares, because the machine can sort it out, thankfully. And so I play a game with the red line. You know, how many sentences can I write in this particular document before I get the first red line? There was one book that I did. It was a
Okay. Oh, I'll just stop her. Right. Okay. So that's a lecturer from Oxford University, and if people would like to lower their hands, they can do that now. But that's a lecturer from Oxford University, and that's her experience. Is she has grown up with dyslexia, And she's using a adaptive technology to help, an assistive technology. And when she's talking about the red line, what she's talking about is in something like Microsoft Word, she has a grammar checker turned on. So her grammar checker is telling her when she's made a mistake. And that is the very first thing you could do to help your students, is to open up a grammar checker on your computer. If you are teaching at all with a computer in the classroom, open it up, find the grammar function, turn it on, and demonstrate to students how it looks when there's something wrong with the grammar. That's really going to help the dyslexic students in your classroom. Now, I would like to, at this point, just very quickly go to breakout rooms, if we could, Linda. And the goal of the breakout room would be to just talk about the statistics that the Oxford lecturer mentioned. Was there something surprising in those numbers that she mentioned for you? Okay, are you muted, Linda?
Yes, if we have 4 to 5 participants, it will be 6 breakout rooms. Does that sound good?
Great.
Okay.
That sounds good. Thank you.
And I will just assign them automatically.
Okay, thank you. And I'm going to drop something in the chat.
And I forgot to choose the time. So
it's okay, Linda. You just don't have to.
We are back.
Okay, great. Now, so what I'd like to do now is I'd like to get some feedback from the groups, please.
Because it always turns out that nobody wants to go first.
Yeah, that's right.
Go first.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah.
Let's see. That was me, Mary Aruga, and Rudolph. I'm sorry if I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of your last name, Rudolph. Is that, I believe it's Rudolph Reinert. Okay. We're in the room, and Linda dropped in for a few moments, but we basically, let's see, Rudolph mentioned that to a degree he can see some kind of an analogy looking at English from a different perspective, his being, I guess, a European language, German, and thinking that to a degree, our Japanese students probably have to engage in some kind of mental trickery similar to dyslexics, because they have to keep bouncing around in their heads all of these different pronunciations. And I noted that the number of or the projected number of undiagnosed dyslexics is something around 80%. So that was a really surprising number to me. And Mary, I'm sorry, I completely forgot where you wanted. You were, I think you were talking mostly about like Rudolph's point.
Yeah, and I was just wondering about the relationship between the different languages and dyslexia, like how English compares to other languages.
Mm.
And that was
there's there's a discussion going on about that right now at the the Asia Pacific Dyslexia Forum is on right now, and that's in Okayama, and it's going to be shared as archived videos are going to be shared from it, and people are talking about how in countries which use a Roman script, the situation is easier than it is in countries where they don't use a Roman script. So people would say that Japanese is a relatively easy language to learn because it's a syllabary, the sounds are the same, they don't change. But you've got three different kinds of, you've got multiple kinds of script. And in Japan, it's about the same time that that children hit what's in America is called the year 3 cliff. They go over the cliff because they can't process the complex words. And in Japan is when I believe it's the time that compound kanji are introduced. and that becomes significantly harder. In Japan, the estimate is that the current estimate is that there are about 8% of students have dyslexia. 2% of students have, or 2.6, I think, have severe dyslexia. And that is at a situation where teachers have not been explicitly trained yet in dyslexia in Japan. So those numbers are going to go up. And that's based on that most children can read kana by the end of year 2. But some of them don't make that transition from kana to kanji characters. And I noticed that when I worked as an ALT, I would walk around the rooms and I would see that there are certain students who are predominantly writing in hiragana rather than progressing on to using kanji, where you expect them to see kanji. Okay, sorry. And next group, please. Okay, somebody
Okay.
stick their hand up, please.
Oh yeah, I can talk.
Okay, thank you, Namiko.
Okay, so I was lucky because actually Alexandra was in our group. So, but I also had Carol in our group as well, and she kind of shared her personal story. Not that she's dyslexic, but she had a family member who is and is quite like is very, very successful right now. So we were talking about all the statistics, and I was saying that I was really surprised that there's only like an hour of training for teachers who are training to help students with dyslexia, because I mentioned that in high school, when we received our project literacy training, that it was several months and for several hours over the weekend. And so thinking about that, yeah, I was quite surprised.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. And another group, please. I realized I should have named the groups or something. Okay, somebody else, please. Please share your views.
Sorry, I guess the hand doesn't
Okay.
work. So in our group, we had a question actually about the spell checker. At the end of the video, the woman was talking about how useful the spell checker was for her. And then you started talking about grammar checkers. And I wondered if you meant spell checker or if that you would also like to recommend grammar checkers for dyslexic students.
Yeah, I would recommend that what you do is you demonstrate that to everybody.
Which, the spell checker or the grammar?
Both. Start off with the spell checker and demonstrate it yourself. Because if you say to the kids, "Oh, here it is, just try that," they're not going to internalize how to use it. They actually have to try it. They have to try it and they have to play with it to really understand it. And I've noticed that with seminars that I've done with adults, teaching adults, that unless adults have actually had the experience of trying it, they don't pick it up. And the people who did try it, they changed their practices.
Can I make a suggestion? If you use Microsoft Word, the grammar checker is not very good, but Google Docs grammar checker is much better. So you could show the difference. Microsoft Word doesn't like complex sentences, so it's always flagging things as problems when they aren't. But Google Docs is much better, I think.
With the grammar checkers, you can change the level of difficulty that it assigns to the text as well. You can make it to extremely strict grammar conditions or easy or lower level grammar conditions. So obviously, if you're teaching a junior high class, you don't need to have the grammar control set to a technical edit for a major document. That would make a difference. Okay, thank you for that. Okay, and another group.
I was about to also suggest, even there's some free like Grammarly.com, they have a free version of it. I mean, it's okay, better than nothing. So that's also you could use as well. Anyway, in my group, we were talking about how even in the university, there's some like, what do you call it? For special needs, what is it, like the special needs department, and some universities, they're not very helpful, like what was it, Noriko Ishihara sensei, where in her university, it's not very good. My university, because I teach at a national university, we don't deal with dyslexic students, but more with hearing impaired and students who can't handle face-to-face like pair work. But I mean, and I think that's too bad that that those departments, their job is to help with students with special needs, but they just kind of don't really care, as long as they just pass the buck to somebody else.
I would think that I think it might depend from university to university, but your likelihood of having identified dyslexics in a national university is very low. And I looked at the center test. I think it was the year before last, and I'm just going to type these numbers into the chat because there was 550 people. There's that many people took the test, and there were this many people asked for a special consideration exam.
Wow. But also, I also have two colleagues. And they specialize in students with dyslexia as well, but they also deal with special needs students too. So that's also really helpful as well.
Yes,
the number of students who've requested a special exam so low because they're afraid to ask for it, or that they're not aware it's a possibility?
They haven't been identified. They're absolutely unaware that that they are possibly dyslexic. They may also not want to identify.
Right.
Parents might have had enough of being the person with the difficult child. They might have enough of being the difficult parents. They might want the child to stand on their own 2 feet, or they may just not want to be identified. They might have been told that labels are for jam jars, not for people.
Yes.
And unfortunately, what that has the habit of doing is it leaves the person thinking they are the only one in the world who's so stupid. And if you have a parent that says, yeah, we don't want to identify our kid, what happens then is that kid goes down the trajectory, and then when they become a parent, they see their kid going through the same things that they went through, and that's when they make a choice of, okay, I'm going to do something about this, or I'm going to hide it. And so you've got this sort of, it's a 20 to 40 year cycle that happens. And yeah, it's just, and I'm on a lot of dyslexia and neurodiversity boards, and I see these people every day. I see people saying, oh, well, I'm 47 and I always thought I was stupid. I thought it was just me. I never knew there was anybody else. It's so nice to find a community. And everybody's saying, yeah. So it's typically people in their late 30s, early 40s are surfacing. But now there are a lot more activist young adults turning up on the boards as well, which is really, really good. Okay, and okay, another group, please.
We talked a bit about, well, we were wondering about how it's diagnosed and the fact that programs available for students, two of us are from the US, and it's school by school, state by state, they're all different. But how do you identify someone as dyslexic? They mentioned in the video that it could cost up to £700 for diagnosis, but
that's in the UK. Yeah.
But how do they do it? What sort of thing is used to say this person is dyslexic?
Okay. One of the tests in Japan, I'll just close this document and grab the other one. Search, here we go. One of the tests in Japan is called STRAW. Let me grab that. Okay, STRAW, Japanese dyslexia testing. And I'll grab this document. Okay. Here's one reference from Japan. This is a program that can be used. STRAW, or this is an article about it, developmental dyslexia. And I'll just grab the other link to that. Oh, do you think? Yeah, no, sorry, I haven't got the program. Oh, hang on, STRAW screening. Here we go. STRAW screening. Okay.
If you double click on the link that she just put in the chat, you can download this PDF file to your computer.
Right. And there's a, okay, I'm just going to right click on this. STRAW, it's an article about STRAW. See if it'll work. It's taking some time to come up. Oh, here you go. This is an article. It's in Japanese, which is good for our Japanese participants. If you're not a fluent reader of Japanese, I suggest you copy and paste this into Google and Google Chrome and right click on it. And this is about the STRAW testing process. And a woman called Dr. Taiko Widell, who is a dyslexia researcher, was one of the people who developed this test. If you're in this group and you're thinking possibly, oh, maybe I have dyslexia, I also have another diagnostic tool which you're welcome to have a look at later, which is the adult. Okay, here we go. This is from the International Dyslexia Association, and it's the adult dyslexia screener. Paste. This last one is the last one I've put up is the adult dyslexia screener, and it's from the International Dyslexia Association website. And I'm just going to open this in Chrome so you can have a look at what this website looks at, because it's quite interesting. So this site is, I'm just going to move to share my screen in Chrome. Moment, and Chrome, here we go, Chrome, and enable sound. Okay. This website has a thing called, Browse Aloud. And so basically Browse Aloud is, it's an accessibility function, and it will read to you. So on this website, you'll also be able to click on this Browse Aloud and watch it doing things. I'm just going to go back a moment, and now here, let's minimize myself. Okay, so here is Browse Aloud, and I'm going to use the function. So
I am Browse Aloud and I offer speech, reading and translation support.
so here, so this function basically, it will, when browse aloud is enabled, and I think maybe Zoom is stopping it working for some reason, that browse aloud would allow you to put your cursor over something and it will read the questions to you. So even if you have dyslexia and you find reading this difficult, browse aloud will read it to you. It will just read the questions out. It will read aloud the questions. So this is technically this is a barrier-free function. And I'll just stop that share right there. Okay. All right. Thank you. So that's in the chat, and that's a free test, and it's been validated worldwide. So please feel free to try that out. That website is also available in Japanese, and it's I'm not certain how well whether there is a full translation of that particular screening tool in Japanese. So I'm sorry about that. Okay, another group, please. Anybody going to have a raised hand anywhere?
I think there was one more group, but I don't remember who was in it.
Anybody else who'd like to volunteer? Or anybody got a comment?
Maybe they want to stay secret.
Okay, staying secret. Okay, all right, that's fine. And so now what I would like you to do, I'm going to go back to my share screen, and I'm going to give you something new. I'll just grab this from I'll close down the dyslexia screener, and I'll now go to this. So this is okay, here we go. So now I'm going to give you a quiz, and this is a bilingual quiz, and we won't be collecting your personal details on this. It's an anonymous quiz, and so please take a look at this quiz and please fill it out. Thank you. Copy, and I'm just going to drop this into the chat now.
If everyone can double click on the chat link that Alex has just put in, it should open in a Google form on your computer, and it's just a short little quiz.
And I'll just do, in case people have trouble with that, I'm just going to do one more thing, which is this. And this is, okay, let's see if you can see this on my screen. Yeah. Okay, here I have a QR code, and I'm going to put this under my phone so you can try getting the quiz this way. I'm now going to do something which is an unusual Zoom move, and that is I'm going to share from my phone. And here's the phone. Share from the phone. Here we go. This is extremely handy. Okay, and so now now we're actually going to be looking through my phone, and here is the QR code. So if you want to, you can actually just take a picture of that QR code with your phone.
I have put the QR, I take a screenshot, and
I've taken a screenshot. Great, thank you very much.
Put it in the chat.
So in a classroom, all I do is with the form is I would just, I would simply right click on this form. Yeah, I would right click, and it will say on this page, right click, and I'm going to click on create QR code for this page. And maybe you can see that QR code. In testing it, it was a bit dodgy the other night, but I don't know if you can see that. Can people see that? Okay. All right, you've got about another minute or two to finish filling in the form, please. Okay, so if you can, please grab answer the questions. And this is anonymous. Nobody will see what you've written because it is anonymous. I don't have a connection to who's put the answers in. Okay, we're up to 16 responses. Fantastic.
Is anyone unable to access the file?
If you're having difficulty with the file, please raise your hand. Okay. All right. Okay, thank you. All right, well, let's have a look at the results if you'd like to see them. So I'll now share the screen and let's look at the results. Okay, and we've got 18 responses. And make it a bit bigger. Whoops. I'm not as cluey on Google Forms as other things. So the first question, do you hear the sound? Do you hear the word? So we've got, that's interesting. Okay. When we've got more responses coming in, I'll just
When
update
I'm
it.
reading silently, I usually hear the words in my head, but not always.
Oh, interesting. Okay. And second one, when you see, do you see a picture in your mind of what you were reading?
That's interesting. For me, I occasionally see pictures, but not usually. So I usually hear the words, but don't see pictures of them.
Mm. Okay, and let's have a look at, do you find it easy to take notes?
Yeah, I have to take notes when I'm listening, otherwise I can't process it. So I can't just listen and then learn that way. I need to be doing something while I'm listening.
A lot of people have discovered they don't have to necessarily take notes. If they're just doodling while they're listening, that helps them retain it also.
Yeah, Linda, I never look at my notes after I take notes. So I guess it's the same. thing. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
that
the
makes sense.
action of the
Yeah.
connection between your hand and your brain.
Right.
It helps cement the whatever you're taking in.
That's an interesting. It's an interesting situation because for me, the idea of taking notes is actually really stressful. So I much prefer to record and then listen again, and I take photographs of things. So I take photographs of slides. I take photographs of instructions. That for me, that's the easiest thing. So, do you enjoy writing by hand? And writing by hand is as distinct to writing for
Typing
the
on a
actual process
keyboard.
of writing. Yeah.
Alex, may I ask?
Sure.
What did you do before cell phone cameras came along?
I'll just stop the share for a moment.
But don't interrupt
can
your
see you.
presentation, just answer that.
No. I just wanted to look at people again. Looking at people is important. Yeah, before cell phones came along, I actually did. I carried a tape recorder. I had a small tape recorder, which I think I paid about $80 for, $80 for in, it must have been early 1970s when I left school. Because I left school before completing school, and that was my main reason for leaving school was because teachers kept saying your handwriting's no good. Like, you're not trying. You're clearly not trying because your handwriting's no good, and you're focusing on the unusual things, but you just ignore everything else. But the main criticism was that my handwriting wasn't neat enough, so therefore I didn't care about what I was doing, and I wasn't paying teachers respect because my handwriting was bad. So I learned that the content of what I wrote didn't matter. It was whether or not I had neat handwriting. So when I got to year 11, and a teacher said to me, well, once you've got your degree, you can go and be anything you like. And at that point, I had started playing music. I had become a traditional Irish musician, and I was earning $200 every weekend playing music. And I had won competitions, and I just said bye, and I just disappeared and became a professional musician. And then a few years later, my husband and I moved to Canberra in Australia, and we both got jobs as trolley pushers in the Attorney General's department. We were pushing around trolleys of mail, and I got selected to go to a writing course. And I was doing the writing course, and the woman said to me, gee, you write really well. What university did you go to? And I said, I didn't. And she said, well, it's about time you did. And she told me about the University of Canberra and the public administration program, and I enrolled in it. I went and did I did a mature age entrance test, and which was also by hand. And my husband did the same test, and he and I both, he got in instantly because he's really good at testing, and I got told, yeah, you might get in. If we get to the bottom of the pile, you'll get in. And that's because my processing speed in tests is really slow, and my handwriting is really bad. So I write about 30% slower than everybody else. But it doesn't actually affect the quality of what I'm doing. And when I was in the first year of junior high school, the teachers suggested to my parents that I should be taught to type a bit to keep her busy before she gets married. And that was the trajectory that the school expected of me. I wasn't allowed to do the general program, the science subjects. And my parents responded by just pulling me out of the school and sending me to a different kind of a school. But even so, that school, which was a very tiny alternative school, still didn't have the resources for dealing with dyslexics effectively. And I had no idea I was dyslexic. I thought my siblings were, but I didn't think I was. And I didn't find out how dyslexic I was until I went back to studying for a Cambridge CELTA a year and a half ago. And that's when I discovered how dyslexic I was. But at university, my coping mechanism was using a small tape recorder, recording everything, listening to it in the car on the long drive home. And if I listened twice, I could remember virtually everything. Sorry, long-winded explanation, but that's it. Okay, Betsy, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, I was just wondering about those questions that we answered. Are they, I mean, presumably they're related to dyslexia, right? Which answer for the questions would be the answer a dyslexic would give versus not a dyslexic? I'm sorry, I'm just not that familiar with what the answer should be.
Well, actually, these questions have almost never been asked anywhere. And I have been asked, I've started to ask these questions in dyslexia chat boards and around the globe, and people are saying no one's ever asked me that. So people are talking about dyslexia being a problem with phonological processing, the ability to map a sound to a letter or a kanji, and then to listen and to remember that sound, and use it so that you physically construct the sound of the word. But we've seen from the statistics that a lot of people actually don't hear the word. And as I say, this has never been asked before.
Alex.
So this is, yeah.
Could you explain what you mean by dyslexia and dysgraphia and all of the other different kinds of categories?
Yes, okay, I will do that, thank you. All right, okay. So dyslexia is a difficulty with, and I'm just going to shameless self-promotion here, but I'm going to put a link. I'll put a link to my article in the language teacher in the chat, and I have a table in there that summarizes some of the challenges that that dyslexics, dysgraphics, etc. will see. Just a moment, I'll just grab that. Yeah. Right. Put that into, and I'm going to go to Google. Okay, I'm going to go back to Google here, and we can just look at this together. Okay, increase this. Okay, I'm just going to share my screen again. I'm just going to get this up and share the screen. And Google Chrome. Here we go. So what in the article in the language teacher, I've analyzed all of the factors that you might see in a classroom. And so with dyslexia, and with all of them, what my approach has been to look at how all of these things affect people in the classroom, because out in the real world, what happens is that organizations like to say our issue is the most important, so therefore we're different and we need your attention, and they all compete. And I've seen this happen in professional situations before. So I've actually brought all of them together onto the one table to look at this. So we've got, does anybody know how to maximize this page? Anybody, any Google experts here, or Google Chrome experts?
Alex, I think if you change your Zoom a bit, So you can zoom out a bit, and then you can drag your screen to make it a little bit longer, then people will be able to see the whole chart.
Oh, okay. Right. Okay. Thanks. Oops. Okay. Change my zoom. So how big is my zoom screen on there? Because I can't actually see it.
It's basically whatever you can see is what we can see on that.
Okay. Right. Yeah. All right. Let me see if I can just increase the size of this thing.
I'm going to go the opposite way.
I can't get rid of the left-hand column. That's what I'd like to get rid of that, but I can't get rid of it. So
you want to go the opposite. You want to go minus and make it smaller.
Oh, do I?
Yeah. Okay. So you can see more.
Right.
And then your web browser screen, drag it and make it a little bit taller. Your web browser screen, if you can.
Okay. At the moment I'm sharing the whole page.
Oh, okay. So just keep zooming. If you zoom out a little bit more.
Before you share, sometimes you can optimize the screen.
Oh, okay. All right. What about
then it gets rid of everybody's faces.
All right. I'm now going to put this into, I'm just putting this whole thing into the chat. And if we've got a person who, Samantha Kawakami, could you just grab this, optimize it, and share the screen, please?
Okay, let me just.
That would be the most efficient thing to do.
I'll do it from my iPad. Here we go.
So if anybody ever needed to know anything about document processing, Samantha Kawakami is the most extraordinarily gifted tech operator I have ever come across. She's just amazing.
Her nickname at JALT 2020 was the operator.
Yeah, the operator.
Okay. There we go. That's the whole chart.
Okay, and now what do we do with the view? And is my view still affecting people?
It shouldn't be.
Okay. View options. Okay. Get to window. Okay, how's that for people? Can you see it?
Looks good.
Okay. So with the there are some commonalities across all of these conditions. Are working memory, and that's on the right hand side on organization. So these students are going to forget things. They're going to lose their papers. They're going to have trouble retaining information. If you give them a long series of instructions, it's going to be hard for them. So your best option in a classroom setting is to make sure that you have on the board a plan of where you are going, so that they can look at it at any point to try and catch up. And if you're in a physical classroom, you just have your dot points of where you're going. And if you would also note what pages. If you're working from a textbook, you would just put the page reference on that same thing about, okay, we're doing reading and it's page 79 or something. And then you just move a magnet down the board. And if you're on if you're working digitally, I think that would be another. I'm not doing fully digital at the moment, so I would like to ask, has anybody else got a solution of how to keep students on track? What do you use at the moment to keep students on track digitally? Is anybody using like a management system at the board level?
I don't know how to keep them on track digitally.
Okay. Has anybody got any suggestions about how they keep theirs on track digitally?
What do you mean by keep on track? Like making sure they're completing assignments on time and they're not falling behind that way?
Knowing if you're teaching a synchronous class, how to keep everybody knowing where they're up to, so they don't all have to keep saying to each other, oh, where are we doing? What are we doing? So because typically the neurodiverse students are going to be missing instructions. They might hear instruction number one. Yeah, number one, number two, number one and number two might be connected, but number one and number three are not connected. And the neurodiverse student may be converting all of the instructions into images in their head. And while they're very quickly processing 1,000 images in their head, they've missed number two and they've heard number one and number three. And so therefore they might not understand the steps. But giving them just steps is frustrating.
This is why I use PowerPoint the way I do, like putting up screenshots of things they can see what page, what activity they're supposed to be looking at, and putting the questions up on the board with numbers, like clear steps with things that they're supposed to be doing. Sharing screens if we're online, and if it's a face-to-face class, using the projector. And handouts. Okay. Handouts as well sometimes.
And handouts,
printed handouts if it's face-to-face.
Yeah. And handouts, I have a big sort of please on the handouts, which is drill holes in them. Just put the holes in the handouts, because the students will have a better chance of actually keeping them. The students with ADHD are going to lose their handouts. Drill the holes. Make sure everybody's got a folder. And if they don't have a paper, don't be judgmental. Just give them another copy.
You know, I'm going to say what happens in my class. A lot of students fold them in half and leave it in their textbook, and their textbooks are like a disaster of handouts. Like,
yes. And my solution, my ultimate solution is, if you are working with the textbook, you make the textbook the source of information. You just keep everything in there. You encourage the students to write notes directly into the textbook and to use tabs in the textbook, because students will lose their papers, but they will not lose the textbook generally. They might forget it one week, but they're usually going to have it there. And this is the inevitable cat. This is the inevitable Zoom cat. You've heard about it, and here it is. It's the Zoom cat. Okay.
Can I ask a quick question, Alex?
Sure.
Earlier, you were talking about noticing when students have a problem where they don't go, they go from hiragana to kanji, but they don't write kanji. Which type of learning disability, neurodiversity, would that fall into? Students who are having problems going from hiragana to kanji?
Now that would be, that could fall into dysgraphia. It could fall into dysgraphia. Dysgraphia is the handwriting issue.
The handwriting is okay. If the handwriting is okay, but they just don't write kanji. They just
in that case, that's more likely to be a dyslexia issue, because dyslexia is the ability to bring, or dyspraxia, it's the ability to bring back the retrieve the information that you need. And the if they've been in a situation of being corrected, like perhaps they're originally a left-hander, but they've been corrected to being a right-hander, their handwriting is not going to be as neat as it would have been if they'd been allowed to continue using their left hand. So basically, every time they write, they're in stress that they're going to be told off for having not neat writing. 10% of the population should be left-handed, but statistically 10% of the population is left-handed. But I do not see 10% of students with left-handed students in classes. And that's, they're just not there. And this is another global issue. So I would say it's a dyspraxia. That would be a dyspraxia issue. It'd be a dyslexia issue. So it's recalling the information. And Sam, could you scroll to the hang on a second. When I get to dysgraphia, just go down to ADHD for a moment. Okay, right, here we go, ADHD. Okay, and the ADHD students are about 50% of them are also going to have dyslexia. So they've got reading disorder, and then they've also got an issue with working memory. And working memory, if you think of at the briefest level, it's about if you were walking on a street and you pass somebody at the traffic lights, you're walking across the street crossing and you see someone, that's about, and then you walk past and you try to remember their face. That's about what working memory is. That's about normal working memory. And then you have the medium-term memory and the long-term memory. So if your ability to remember those details and to hold them is weakened, then you're not going to retain the information you need if there's a series of steps, which is why writing stuff on the board, giving clear directions is important. And giving students directions in a way that's useful to them, for example, voice to text, is important. And with ADHD, one of the most difficult things to find is attention deficit disorder, predominantly inattentive. And that means that they're not jumping around, because everybody thinks that ADHD is a boys thing, and it's like they just have this image of boys running about and jumping and leaping. And it's not. It's girls are socialized into behaving more passively, and girls with attention deficit disorder may appear to be quiet, but they might sort of yell out something inappropriately, or they might be staring out the window. They're really, really hard to diagnose, and even ADHD experts say that. So, and they are highly anxious. And when they're studying, when people with neurodiversity are studying, they are accessing part of the brain, which is the caudate. And the caudate area of the brain is associated with fear. So in MRI studies have shown that people who are anxious can't learn. You can't learn if you're worried about what's going to happen. And to bring this home to you, I'd like you to pick up 2 pencils or 2 pens. I don't care what you've got, just pick up 2 and grab a piece of paper.
If you have 2 different colors, a pencil or and a pen.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they're 2 different colors, just two writing implements. I'm sure people have got a writing implement around. Okay. And you can probably stop your screen share at the moment if you like, Sam, just for the moment. Okay. All right, so you got your pens, everybody got your pens, you've got your writing implements, 1 in each hand. We're good? Okay, now. Oh, nice, thanks very much. People are giving us a thumbs up. Okay, and I want you to write something, write this with your opposite hand. So not the hand you normally use. I want you to write the hand you don't use. And you can put the second pen down just for the moment, but write with the hand you don't use and write, hello, my name is. And now I want you to keep writing. My name is, whatever your name is. And now next sentence, I'm from the city of somewhere in the world. And my hobby is this. And now I'd like you to go on and start writing about what your favorite food is. I can see Mary, you're laughing. You're not paying attention, Mary. Mary is, she's gone off task. Now she's rushed up to show me her paper. Yes, she's laughing. She's laughing. I wish I could hear Mary laughing. I wish she'd unmute herself so I could hear her laughing. Goodness, Mary, I hope I'm going to put you at the back of the room, Mary, because you're going to disrupt other people.
Totally.
Yeah, so Mary, would you?
Can't do it.
Okay, so if anybody wants to if you want to hold your pictures up to the screen. Yep. Okay, I want to take a picture of this. So I'm just going to close this box and I'm going to take a picture. Okay, everybody hold up your pieces of paper. Hold up your paper. I'm going to get a full screen of this. Okay, close that one. Okay, and here we go. All right, everybody put their papers up and I'll go for a screenshot. I'm probably going to need to do two screenshots here. Okay, capture. Okay, and I'm going to go back to the previous page and here's the next page. Here we go. Any more screenshots? And here we go. And I've now just captured the second page. Lovely. Okay, now I want you to pick up the second pen. Pick up your second pen, people. Now I want you to write a letter or a kanji, I don't mind which, just write a letter or a kanji. But I want you to write a different one with each hand.
What?
They're just looking at me. Just follow. You heard me. I said, just follow the instructions, people. I
Same
said,
time?
write. Yep, right at the same time. I want you to write two different letters at the same time. Yep, just write 2 different letters at the same time, one in each hand. How are we going?
Different
people?
letters, 2 different ones.
2 different letters, yes. Yeah, we don't want you writing the same thing. 2 different letters in each hand. How are we going? Is it easy? Anybody managed to do it?
I think
they're all smiling again.
I think it's easier this way.
You think it's easier?
Yeah.
To write 2 things.
Yeah.
Okay. And have you got 2 different things?
Yeah.
Oh, yay! You are very, very, very rare.
Oh.
Mary, anybody else managed to do it? Anybody else got 2 different things?
It's hard, but I could do it.
It's hard, but you could do it. Okay.
I could do it. But
now
I had to think. But I had to think between each stroke. Like I wrote 1 stroke at a time. Which stroke is next? Which stroke is next? In order to do it.
But you'd write 2 different things.
Yeah.
2 different letters. Okay. Okay.
So
how many have we got?
I misunderstood. I thought you meant kanji. I was like, no way can I do that. You mean
it
just
doesn't matter
regular
whether
letters?
it's kanji or
okay. Because I definitely can't do kanji.
Whatever is the easiest for you to write, a kanji or a letter. I don't mind which. So if you want to write a kanji, try writing 2 different kanjis.
No, it's impossible. I couldn't do it.
For example, with your one hand write A and the other hand write B at the same time.
Yeah, that's okay. I can do that.
You can do that?
I cannot do that.
Okay, let's have a look at Carol. I can't looking at Carol. Have you managed to do it? Like the pictures are tiny bit little. I'd love to scroll through the pictures at the moment. I don't know how we would do that. What's an easy way to do that?
Sorry. Yeah, it took me a little while, but I think I did it.
I can do it, but I'm left-handed, so I often have to use my right hand anyway.
Can you see that?
Where?
No, I can't.
No, I can't. No, I can't because you've got a virtual background up.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's have a look. Okay, Carol, you said you thought you did it.
I kind of did it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, at the same time. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
on
not
the
too
right
bad.
side, they're smaller and neater, and the left hand, really, my other one looked just awful, but this was a little bit easier, but they're not great.
Right. Fascinating. Okay, anybody else who's, Barbara, you said you were able to do it. Let's have a look, Barbara. I'm just going to pin Barbara, remove the spotlight, and I'm going to put it on Barbara. Here we go. Spotlight. Here we go. Okay, and so
Not
you were able to do
bad.
it as well. Yeah, not bad at all. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, interesting. Okay, anybody else? Who else was able to do 2 things at the same time? Okay, just a minute. What did I do? No, I almost cancelled the recording. Whoops. Okay. All right, who was that? Oh, Sam. Sam's got something up. Let's have a look at Sam. Spotlight. Okay, let's have a look at Sam's one.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
It's the first time I was doing the same one and then doing separate ones and then letters.
Yeah.
My right hand is on the right. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. And all right, thank you very much. Okay, somebody else. I have to stop hitting that remove spotlight.
Louise.
Careful here. How do I unspotlight you? Just a second. Oh, here we go. I'm just going to try and spotlight you now. Okay. Okay, I've got you. Okay, Louise, go.
Pretty bad, but that's the first thing I wrote, and then I cheated.
Yeah.
B and D are symmetrical. So I it was easy to do those, but then I did I and like that. Pretty bad.
Oh, okay.
Kind of.
No, but you're able to do it. So it's interesting. Okay, thank you, Mary. And somebody else, anybody else who if you want to stick your hand up, somebody else who's able to do it. We got somebody else. Oh, Paula, I'm just going to spotlight Paula now. Okay, here you go. Okay, Paula, let's see.
Okay.
Cool.
I've got a, oh yeah, can you see me? It's not,
Yeah,
I'm
a
at a
little,
virtual
just raise
background.
it up a little bit. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we can
Cool.
see.
So you were able to do two at the same time as well.
Well, not great, but kind of. I'm just,
Yeah, that you did it. Okay. Okay. Somebody, thank you. Thank you, Paula. Somebody else. Somebody else, if you have one, please wave your paper at us. Wave your paper.
Let me go.
Don't be shy. Okay. Oh, here's Yoko. Yoko, and let's have a look at. Oh, and now, where is Yoko? Can we see Yoko? Just a minute. Yoko, here we go. Spotlight. Spotlight. How do I spotlight Yoko?
Oh, she's spotlighted.
She's spotlighted.
Oh, is she? Oh, I just removed her. Just a minute. Spotlight. Here we go. Yoko.
Very good.
Okay. Yeah, you did it. Yeah, so the top one is two hands together. Is that right?
Yoko, you're muted.
Yeah, you're muted.
So the one done by left hand was awful. Still, you know,
It's
the right
better than
one is
mine.
really good. I challenged Candy, so it was difficult.
Okay, and thank you. And let's see, we've got some more here. Okay, Namiko, you've got one. Okay, and I'm just going to spotlight you. Spotlight. Okay, here we go. Can we see Namiko?
Very good.
Ah, okay. And
I have a
Yosh,
confession,
yeah.
actually. When I was a university student, I had to attend some pretty boring lectures. And just for my own amusement, I started writing with my left hand. And that habit has continued. So that's why I can't read my notes. Yeah. But I do color with my left hand. So I am ambidextrous, like in some ways. Like some sports I do play with my left hand. So I'm not like completely ambidextrous, but yeah.
Yeah, my grandmother used to switch her tennis racket from left to right hand during a tennis match. Has somebody else got a page they'd like to show us? Anybody else like to show us their page? Oh, okay. And Junko. Okay, here we go, Junko. I'm going to spotlight you. Okay. Okay, Junko. Can we see her?
Yes, that's not
Yeah.
bad. Yoshiko Otsuki said that they used to play a game with writing with their left hand. And that would probably be a good game for kids to play.
It is. I've done it in the classroom. I've done that in the classroom with for kids. Okay, and Jeffrey, you had one as well. I saw you with the paper. So let's just put Jeffrey onto spotlight. Okay, and spotlight to. Oops, I'm just going to remove the spotlight from. Okay, here we go. There's Jeffrey. Cool. Okay. Yeah, this is really interesting. Okay, and Yoshiko, what about you? Thank you very much, Jeffrey. And Yoshiko?
No, I didn't try. I know I can't.
You know that you can do it. Okay, all right, thank you. All right, and anybody else like to share at this point? If you would, please wave your paper. So. Okay, no, I think we're past the paper waving. Oh, here we go. Noriko, here we go. And I'm going to spotlight Noriko. Wow.
Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
What
yeah,
I noticed is that when I wrote this is in my left hand and this is with my right hand. And my letters that written with my right hand looked exactly like the letters written by the left hand.
Interesting.
I had to
Why
pay
is that?
really close attention. So
yeah, it's really interesting. Yeah, that's very interesting. And they do different sizes. That's interesting too. Different sizes of writing. Okay, fascinating. Thank you. Well, we've unearthed several people who can do this, and this is the gallery. Okay. Several people who can do it. I have only ever seen one student do it before, and that was purely by accident. I didn't know that people could do this because it certainly wasn't something I'd ever thought about. And then I watched this girl flawlessly writing with a chalk, writing sort of things in two hands on a blackboard just while she was playing. I just thought, wow, but the same student could not pass, couldn't do paper tests. So yeah, I don't know what her educational trajectory is going to be. She could not pass paper tests. She got very low scores. She was very, very good at speaking, but she couldn't. But she just couldn't get the scores she wanted to get into a particular kind of schooling. So, and I think that's a real pity, because we focus too much on the handwriting or the quality of the handwriting, and that's where digital takes the pressure out of the issue of handwriting. And at this, and I have asked you to have a phone or something handy, and I think we're going to have to get everybody on mute at the moment. But what I would like you to do, and I'm going to show you the process, is I'd like you to use voice dictation. And I don't know if you've done this before or not, but let's have a look and see if I can use it. I'm going to do some voice dictation. So I'm going to open a new document I'm going to go to Microsoft Word. Oops. File, new. Okay, insert, and right, let's have a look and see if this will work for me today. Go back to Zoom, and I'm going to go to share screen, and I'm going to my Microsoft Word document, and here we go. Okay, so here's Microsoft Word, and I'm going to do voice dictation.
The font larger?
I definitely will do, and I'm also going to change the color in a moment. So, and I'm going to go for a universal design font. So I'm actually going to go for UD Digital Kyokusho. I'm going to use this one. Okay, and let's see if I can do. Okay, see if I can get this to do voice dictation for me. So, okay, and oops, and let's see, I'm going to go to hello, full stop. My name is Alexandra Burke, full stop. Okay, one second. And so what I'm doing here is I'm actually touching on a Mac, I'm hitting the function key twice, is Alex Burke, full stop. I'm from Canberra in Australia, full stop. I've been living in Japan since 2015, full stop. I came here to teach as an assistant language teacher, full stop, with my family, full stop. Okay, and there we go. It's got my okay. And so if I'm dyslexic, I might have difficulty checking if my spelling is right. So that's why I would want to have have the tools put on. So let's have a look at spelling and grammar, and I'm going to set it to spelling and grammar. Let's have a look. Oh, it's just gone to readability. There is. Okay, at the moment, the tools are set to show. They're set to show if I made a spelling mistake. So I'm going to go in here and make a spelling mistake. Put one in here. See if it catches the grammar. No, there we go. It's underlined it, and if I right click on it, it's telling me what I should have done. So that is what when the woman in the video at the beginning was talking about the red line, she's talking about this function. So I'm just going to go back to, I should have listened to it. And I want to listen to this and see if it works. So I'm going to get it to speak. And this is it Command Escape should do it. or option escape.
Hello, my name is Alex Burke. I'm from Canberra in Australia. I've been living in Japan since 2015. I came here to teach as an assistant language teacher with my family.
Did you hear that?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so it read to me. So when I was studying, I did all my proofreading using listening. And I do that still now. I basically highlight everything and I listen to it. I'm much more likely to catch errors in my own work by listening to it. Somebody else's work, I'm more likely to capture that in, I'll just see it. I don't know why that is. And the other thing I want to show you here in Microsoft Word is, I'm going to go to the design menu. Oops, just a minute. Okay, I've got to get this bar out of the way. Okay. That out of the way. Okay, design. I wanted to make it easy to read for me. And here is the design menu. And I'm going to go to, now this bar's in the way again at the moment. Let's move this whole thing. Okay, I want to go to page cover, page color. And I'm going to change it. Let's have a look at this color. How is this for people? I can't see the zoom at the moment, so I don't know how you're reacting to it, but
yeah, good.
Is it good or bad?
For me, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me too, good.
Okay. Okay.
I don't
all right.
like the yellow, but
you don't like the yellow.
Okay.
All right. Let's try this color. How about that?
Oh, that's harder.
Anybody else? Anybody else like that color?
Not good for me either.
I prefer
Not
the
good
yellow.
for you. Okay. You prefer the yellow. Okay,
Yeah.
let's go to a blue. Let's go to blue. How's that?
Yellow's better, but blue's my favorite color, so I'm biased.
Me too.
What about a
Nice, I like
blue
blue.
background with the white text?
Okay, let's go to this. Here we go. And now we're gone to a fairly dark blue, and let's go to white text. And I'm gonna do the font is oops, hang on a second. Oh no, I don't want to do that. I want to do control. So I'm not.
Go to the home key.
Oh yeah, home key, and I'm going to make the font white. Okay,
Yeah.
how's
And
that?
that is easier for my eyes.
Me too.
That's easier for you.
Great.
Anybody else? So
Yeah, great.
That's okay.
If you're going-
Interestingly, the light blue with the black, I see like a slight halo around the letters, like almost like they're like that highlighted. You know what I mean? Like you do kind of fancy text, and you make it like a bubble around it. But with this one, it's
so
okay.
if you're sitting at your computer at the moment, I'd like to invite you to, if you're able to switch a tab to your word processing function. So open up a word processing document if you're on a computer. There is a risk we'll get lost, but I'm sure we'll be able to find our way back. So if you've got Microsoft Word, please open up a document in Microsoft Word, and I'll put into the chat where you need to go. So where's my... Okay, so in Microsoft Word, you need to go to the page, you go to the Design tab. Design tab. And then into the right, on the right-hand side, go to the page color. Page color. Page color. And then click on the colors and try and find something that works for you. And if you've been able to do this, type what kind of a color works for you.
Alex, I usually use, when I do presentation, make presentation for my lessons, I used to put green background with white, just like a blackboard and white chalk.
Yeah, that's what I do too. So, and that's, and but for if you're going to be spending a long time doing a document yourself, you want to do whatever is the most comfortable for your eyes.
Right.
But what I have noticed after 15 years of the classroom is I've watched, because I was an ALT for a long time, I wasn't the T1 usually. Sometimes I was T1, but I wasn't always T1. And so I was watching the faces of the students, and I would watch them intently, and they appeared to be able to focus and to concentrate when they're on the blackboard, and then someone would hand them a white piece of paper, and some of them would just fall apart and they wouldn't write. It could be perhaps they had difficulty writing. Yes, please put your preference color. Yep. Okay. Thanks for getting some interesting things in here. Should have made I guess I should have made a Google document for that too. I will do afterwards. Anonymously, of course. And I watched a boy that he was a third-year junior high school student, and he had never written in class. He just didn't write. And then I talked the teacher into switching out paper, and we used green paper. And he wrote for the first time. He wrote a tiny bit. And on the bottom of the paper, he wrote Yometa. I read it on the bottom of the paper. And the next day, we continued with the other side of the paper, which was also green, the second side of it. And this time he wrote, he looked at the paragraph in the book, and he did, they were doing grammar, and he basically copied the paragraph. He wrote the whole paragraph, and then underneath he put it into Japanese. And I'd never seen him do this before, ever. He just did the whole thing. And he went past the part that the teacher said, right up until this part, go to line 10 or whatever. He kept going. And at the bottom of the page, he wrote, Dekita, I did it. And on a third day, he had because we'd done all 4 pages in green. He wrote, the third day, he did the entire exercise, the same speed as everybody else did, but he wrote nothing. And then the next day, the teacher said, oh, look, this color paper is a bit expensive. I'm going to go back to white. And so he handed out white prints. And the boy looked at the teacher, and he looked at me, and then he just put his head on the desk. And that was one of the hardest memories of teaching, because it was the first time I'd seen him do some work. And then the teacher said, oh, no, it's too expensive. You can't do this, And I was so sorry for the boy. And it wasn't that the teacher was being mean. He just had no idea that it was a different experience. And that's why I decided to do this thing of asking people how they experience learning and what they see and what they hear. Yeah, so color really can make a difference. I also watched a teacher, when I gave kids an option of different colors of paper. I saw another student who also was a reluctant writer, and he went and got himself a yellow paper, and he was writing. And then the teacher, who wasn't on board with the idea at all, he was watching this kid doing the worksheet, and this kid never wrote anything either. And the kid's writing away, and then the teacher leaned over, and I heard him say, oh, you don't really need that yellow paper, do you? And the kid just stopped writing. And he put his head on the desk. And I just thought, I really wish there was training. That was well before any information came out on dyslexia for Japanese teachers. So, and it was that he just didn't have the experience. And as I was an ALT, I had no authority to suggest that what I was saying was significant. So yeah, that was a difficult day too. But about the same time, I watched a girl, I was teaching kids to use highlighters. And I took in these really nice gel highlighters, because I watched this girl that when she picked up the pink paper, she just wrote and wrote and wrote. And so at the junior high school, kids can use highlighters, but at elementary they couldn't. And I asked them to just highlight anything that would be useful for them. I just gave them highlighters and just try this. And then she was explaining to the girl next to her, oh, pick the right color and it becomes really easy to read. And you just put the highlighter through it. And I watched her go from a score of less than 10, and she scored something like about 70 on her spelling test that day because it was pink paper. So yeah, so I've been doing some studies with people on the issue of background color, and I actually got something here to show you about color, and I just grabbed that right now. And if anybody wants to stand up and stretch, we'll run to the loo for the moment. You've got a 2-minute break, people, and then and if you have a question, you can drop it in the chat. So please take a break for 2 minutes. Okay, is everybody back? Yes, oh, thank you very much, Yoshiko. I'm going to do that, yeah. And Namiko, you've asked about, you've been told by a primary school teacher not to use pink chalk on a blackboard because it was hard for students to read. What about colour blindness? Yes, I'll cover that right now. And Yoshiko, if you want to do colours, you should do the colours with everybody. If you ask one person about colours, they're going to run off. They're not going to do it. And with the colour experience, I'll show you the difference with colours. Right now, I'm going to use just before I change onto that, I'm going to show you what happens if you use coloured filters. And so these things are a set of coloured filters, and I'm going to switch to my iPhone for you to watch this. Just one moment, and screen share, and going to the iPhone, phone, and share. Okay. And Sam, I still haven't set this up, but I will do one of these days. Okay, so now, okay, I'm going to do it this particular way. Okay. Oops. Okay, what we're looking at here, I don't know how to maximize that. What we're looking at here is we're looking at my journal article, and I'm now going to put, I'm trying to bring this down a little bit lower. Okay. Now let's just a tiny bit higher. This one's a bit hard to, okay, that's not too bad. Okay, so let's have a look at that. And now let's look at this. How is this for people? This color.
It's better for me.
Yeah, me too.
Right, okay, right. And now, well, now let's have a look at another one.
The first color is better.
Yeah, the first one's much better.
Okay, much better. Okay, so, and now, okay, let's go into a different spectrum of color.
That's good.
And yellow is much
That's good.
clearer.
Yes.
Yellow is much
Well,
clearer. Okay. And okay, let's bring another color in. Okay, let's go for another shade. Okay.
That's not as good as
That's
yellow.
tough. Yeah, tough on my eyes.
Yeah, it's hard on your eyes. Okay. Now, okay, what about this one?
Not good.
I like the color, but no.
Sorry.
I like the color. The yellow's better for me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, the yellow
Yep.
is
What
the
about
best.
this?
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, the thing is, it's going to be individual to everybody. And if you go into research this, I want you to think about the story about my dad. Now, my dad was he was a doctor. He was a very difficult man. He was ADHD and extremely difficult man, but he was very, very bright. And he was very scary to drive with because he wasn't good on left and right, but he was a fabulous diagnostician when he was alive. And because he could just bring random stuff together. And when my daughter was being assessed because she had difficulty reading, she wasn't reading at normal level at age 6. She went. One of the things we attempted was this screening for vision it's called visual stress or scotopic sensitivity, and I knew that my older siblings had it. And so, but my father was never ever looked at any of these things. He never thought that any of it applied to him ever. And anyway, we brought these things back from the clinic and he picked up this thing and he said, "Where did the hairs go?" And we all looked at him and said, "Hairs." And he said, "You know, all the hairs on the letters." And then he took the purple thing away and he said, "Oh, they're back. Oh, they're gone. There's no hairs. And then he just walked away. And he was 73. And every letter he'd looked at had hairs all around it. And he thought that was normal. And I thought that was really sad. Yeah. And I routinely get attacked by people because there's a very strong lobby out in the education sector that sells products of different kinds, and those lobbyists say that only phonics is the only answer, or only this method is the only answer. But I'm really reticent to go with the only answer strategy, because what if you don't fit that only answer? We saw with our experiment with what do you see, what do you hear, that people are different. And I don't think we've got enough information. There are MRI studies coming out that show that we do process information differently. And there's one I was looking at today, which was a Harvard study that showed that when typical readers were exposed to text, the part of the brain responsible for text became active. But when dyslexics were shown text, visual text, that part of the brain didn't light up. But the section of the brain that experiences stress did. And then when the typical readers were given text and audio, there was no change to their brain activity. They were still functioning at the same level. But when the dyslexics were given audio as well as text, suddenly the area responsible for reading lit up. And that tells me that, oops, the things just died. Okay, and that told me, I thought that was a very significant article to read. And then the next thing I found was another article that came out recently, which was that a study in the US, it was an MRI study, and they put brainwave, they put a device on the volunteers' heads, and it basically altered their brain structure. So you had a bunch of people who were dyslexic and a bunch of people who weren't dyslexic, and when they used it, some of the dyslexics were suddenly able to read, which they hadn't been able to do before, which is fantastic news. But some of the typical readers experienced a drop in their ability to read post-study. So hands up, who wants to get their brain altered? Anybody got their hand up? No, nobody wants to put their hand up yet, do you? So that tells me that it is biologically based, and that there is potential for students to fail twice. They will fail once in the classroom, the regular classroom, and then they're going to fail in the expensive intervention that they are being taken to. And their parents will be unhappy. And because this expensive intervention is meant to be the answer to everything, those kids will be pretty, they're going to be told they're really not trying or they're lazy. And that is just so troubling to me, really troubling to me. So I think that we need to be spending more time saying, how do you experience learning? How is this for you? And less time saying you must do this. And in a classroom, I would like to see Japanese literacy taught with both the traditional Blackboard method used, but also a second method of using, whoops, get this thing up right. A concurrent method used using something like this application. Where is it? Okay, let's have a look at one kanji. Here we go. And I'm going to show you screen share to my iPad. And I know you're watching the class. You're watching you're watching the chat, Linda. I can see that because I know we're going to run out of time soon.
Yes.
Yeah. Here we go.
If you're willing and people want to stay, we can extend, but we're supposed to end at 4.
Yep. Okay. Okay, so I'm now on the iPad. You can see this. So we've got Shikoku here. And now I have never seen a student react badly to this. Even though it's black and white, this is extremely engaging for students to watch. And I would often take this into school at lunchtime, and I would say to the kids, now, how does this go? And I'd start doing it the wrong way. And the kids just like, ooh, at me, and they would start doing it. And this is pre-COVID, when we could all huddle. And what would happen sometimes is kids that weren't very good at writing on paper, they would be really good at doing a quiz on one of these. And some of them would be really proud because suddenly they could write their name. And it wasn't because kids who were still writing their name in hiragana when they were at an age where they were expected to write it in kanji. So they actually did have a kanji, but they weren't able to do it. So using assistive technology helps. And this one is called, this particular device is called Emiwa. So I really recommend Emiwa. It's an extremely useful device. I'm now going to open up another one and give you the color experience. So we can, in fact, we can look at this page. Okay, I'm now going to share to my iPad. I'm in my phone. Okay, here we go to the screen share to the iPhone. And I think you share an iPhone. Okay, this is where the questions on coloring are going to get addressed. Okay, right, here we go. Now we're on my phone and I'm going to open this one and let's go for color. Now this is an invention by Professor Asada. And so here is, we're now looking at my iPad. And this is with normal color vision. And now we're going to go to, look at the difference here. This is the same image, but the second one is for a person who has the most common form of color blindness, which is type, in Japanese, it's called the Niigata. That's the second version. And now I'm going to add another one in. So we've got 3 different versions of what we're seeing. And now I'm going to add the 4th one in.
That's interesting.
Yep. So this is a free app, and I'm going to share the free app.
What's it called again?
It's called Chromatic Vision Simulator. I'll just put it. There we go. I'll just what am I going to do? Okay, it's called CV Simulator, and I'm just going to share that. Oh, I know I can do that on the Google thing. CV Simulator. CV Simulator. Okay, and I'm still on there. Okay, here we go. And I'm just going to share this, copy the link. So now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to flip from my iPhone. This is how you flip quickly between devices. So I'm going to use to copy this link, and I'm going to go to my notepad, and I'm going to chuck in done, and let's go for a new thing. Oops, new note, and boom, there it is there. And now it's on here. I can go back to my computer. I can end it there.
Alex, I already put it in chat.
Go back to my computer. Oh, you did? Oh, good on you.
Yep,
Thank you.
I already did.
Good on you. Thanks. You put the link to the thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Monet refuses the operation.
That's just a poem that people can read later if they like.
Yep.
I love that poem.
Okay. Yep. Okay, I've got a thing here called Great Articles in Dyslexia. This is something I would really like people to know about. And that was in, and I'll put this into the chat. Okay, where's the chat gone? Chat's here. So I'm getting lost. Too many functions going on in my head. Okay, I think there's a typo in that. And please take a moment to look at that in the chat. And I want to show you another couple of resources. So I think that should dispel the myth that there's no dyslexia in Japan. I think we've pretty much dealt with that. And now let's go to
that last thing you put in the chat. Is there a link to the article?
No, I don't have a link to the article. I've just got a hard. I haven't even got a digital copy. You see, I haven't been in the university sector, so until April, I didn't have access to any free. I didn't have access to journal databases. All I could get was whatever I could get free, and I would often try to write to people to ask things for that. But if you don't have a education department or an education organisation email address, you can't join ResearchGate. You can't access lots of these studies. You just can't get them. So
the article is here at this link, but you have to have I don't have access here at home either. It's expensive to buy.
Yeah. No, that's right. I'm now going to show you this this intervention that I've used in schools. And I'm going to go to the share screen again. We're going to go back to the phone. Share. Yeah. Oops, hang on, it hasn't joined. Okay, screen mirroring and gotcha. Okay, there we go. Right, and let's go back to this thing, back to the arm. Now, this is a ridiculously effective intervention. So what I have here is I've got this piece of paper which has got open dyslexic font on it. And it's also got some here, it's also got some katakana. And the goal of that is for students to know how to say the names of the letters. Because I noticed that I was coming across high school students and then junior high school students and elementary students who couldn't read katakana and couldn't read English. And if you put their name in front of them, they didn't know what it was that you were asking them to look at. So here, this thing here is they're just bottle caps. And they're just circles. And if the kids are, and the nice thing about them is that you can see which way round this font goes. You can actually know, you can look at it, and it's really easy to see which way up that goes. And the minute you put something like this, you put a bunch of these things down in front of kids, they instantly start picking them up and turning them around. And they either instinctively do it or you can tell them, but I know that they instinctively do it because I was working with a student who had autism and was almost non-verbal, almost completely non-verbal. And I was in a special classroom with him and another child, and the second child had always shown an interest in the alphabet. So we brought in 2 sets of these letters, and the first time we did it, they were just white. And one boy showed an interest and the second boy didn't. And the second time I decided, right, I'm going to go with the color because I'd noticed and other students weren't reacting to them very much. So I thought, right, what if the color is a factor? And I brought in colored ones. And so we were watching, and the boy who liked the alphabet leapt on them and started doing things. And he started arranging the alphabet. And so we were sort of busy watching him and, and cheering him on because he was just very, very quickly doing this stuff very quickly. And then we looked around, and the second boy, who was making no sound whatsoever, had got all the way down to the U line, and all the letters were the right way up. We hadn't explained to him about how to use the font. He just did it instinctively. And the teachers just about, they almost started crying. And they cheered him on as he went to the end, and he went right through to the letter Z. And he did them, a couple of them were upside down, and they just said, oh, look that kochi kochi dochi muki. And he sort of looked at it, and he's like, oh, and he just quickly corrected it. And then he gave us a radiant smile. And because he was getting authentic praise, and he felt really happy with what he'd achieved. And it didn't take him long to do. I think it took him about less than 2 minutes to do the whole thing. And then what really got me was that after that, he looked at my name tag. He came over and he looked at my name tag. So I took it off, I gave it to him, and he made my name in the letters. And that then nearly made me cry, because everybody had underestimated what this boy could do. But what was important to him was he needed a particular color, and his color was this color of blue. He didn't respond to any other color at all. And when there was a certain color, we tried a couple of different colors, and he actually became overwhelmed and became really upset. And the only color that worked for him was blue. So after that, we just did everything in blue for him. And he started to make words, and he was making words, and he was attempting to write, and he was really, really happy. So if you can find the right circumstances, you can really unlock the future for people. So these letters are quite easy to make. And I have I do have a PDF of this. I do have a PDF of this document, which I can put in the chat shortly. But I'd like to show you a couple of resources on autism. And these are, okay, let's get the two of them up. Whoops, there we go. These two books are, oops, that's a bit crooked. I'll just take that off there. Right. Move this thing out the way. This is not very useful. Okay, these two books. Well, now it's gone sideways. Come on, phone. Right. Here we go. Okay, this Naoki Higashida, he would be about 30 now, and he learnt to read to talk by using a grid system. And I heard about his books because there was the guy who wrote the English translation, and his wife were interviewed on the Jon Stewart program. And so then I bought the Japanese one as well, and I wrote that, and I gave it to I went and bought the Japanese and the English ones, and I gave the Japanese one to the woman who was teaching the boy, who became interested in the alphabet, and it was really helpful to her. And I'd like to just read for just a moment of it's interesting, that image is still there. I'm just going to read a tiny bit from his book. And why don't you make eye contact when you're talking? True, we don't look at people's eyes very much. Look whoever you're talking with it properly in the eye. I've been told over again and again, but I still can't do it. To me, making eye contact with someone I'm talking to feels a bit creepy, so I tend to avoid it. Then where exactly am I looking? You might suppose that we're just looking down or at the general background, but you'd be wrong. What we're actually looking at is the other person's voice. Voices may not be visible things, but we're trying to listen to the other person with all of our sense organs. When we're fully focused on working out what the heck it is you're saying, our sense of sight sort of zones out. If you can't make out what it is you're seeing, it's the same as not seeing anything at all. What's bothered me for a long time is this idea that people have, that so long as we're keeping eye contact when they're talking to us, that alone means we're taking in every word. Ha! If only that was all it took, my disability would have been cured a long, long time ago. And so that's one of the stories from it. And all of the stories in this book are just a short section. So that's called if we get up the word, The Reason I Jump is the name of the book. And the author is whoops, where's the chat gone? Okay, chat and The Reason I Jump is the name of the book. I believe there is a movie out now, and I don't know. Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't say the name of the name. I can't say the name in Japanese for some reason. I'm lost here. That's the Japanese name. And his name is Higashida Naoki. Now, this is just one boy and just one boy's story, but I found this to be an incredibly useful insight into how students might feel. And it influenced how I behave towards students in the classroom, because I can understand better about how overwhelmed a student with autism might feel. And this is where I'd like to talk about students who have difficulty fitting in. And there are lots of them. So you've got students who would be students who are dyslexic have been avoiding things since they were in year 2. The American longitudinal studies show that they are task avoidant from about year 2. And students who are ADHD are also avoidant. Their reason is different, because they get, American studies showed that you could be, a person with ADHD could expect to be told off 20,000 times by the time they're in year 6. And that would be an average of 6 times a day, six times in one class, 6 classes a day. So that's, so by year 6, that child will have been told that they're bad and they're lazy, or they're being disruptive or off task 20,000 times by year 6. So if you were told off 20,000 times, your sense of well-being would be pretty low. So they expect, they develop what's called rejection sensitivity. And I'll put that in the chat. And this is an emerging area. I think the fellow who got this idea up was, I think his name is Holden. I think that's his name. So they expect to be wrong. And they expect to be yelled at. So they're quite defensive. So these students, if you're trying to help them, they're going to be, if the Japanese students are going to go, nani monai, daijoubu. So they're going to just react like that, get really strong, and they're going to become even angry if you try to help them. And the best thing you can do, thanks, David. Thank you. The best thing you can do with a student like that is give them something to do, but don't overly praise them in front of other people. Just praise them at a low-key level, because if you praise them too much, their expectation is that they must be faking it, because I've never had praise before. They're not used to praise and they will reject it. Really, really hard to praise them. Your best option is to give them task-based learning. Then you have students with autism spectrum issues, and their experience of trying to be with other people isn't easy either. So if you have a situation where you ask students to make groups, you then also have the dyspraxic kid who's never been able to tell left from right and is really slow at doing their shoelaces up and has missed the ball or has dropped the ball, has lost the game for everybody. That was me, hello, and got hit in the face with the ball. That kid is used to being the last person picked, and they are expecting to be rejected. So you have a number of kids in your class who are going to be expecting to be rejected. So they're not going to be able to make a group. And I think everybody's seen the classroom where you've said, okay, everybody, you make groups. And there will be these poor kids on the end of the room, at the end of the room left, just sort of standing there like fish and on a beach. And the kindest thing you can do in your classroom is you always designate the groups. Okay, thank you, Paula. Yep. You designate the groups. So you don't put them in a position where they have to go be rejected. That will make a huge difference to their self-esteem. So yeah, those are some of the issues you might want to think about. And back to so sort of in summing up, you want to give students the opportunity to succeed. So you can do that by fixing the font, giving them the right font to look at. You can give them, where'd my iPad go? I did have the iPad here. Cat didn't take it. I lost it. Oh, this is my life is I lose. Oh, found it again. I spend my entire life losing things. And that's because I've got ADHD, which wasn't diagnosed until I was 39. And the estimates on ADHD are that if you have it, you are likely to have 8 to 21 years shorter lifespan than the person next to you. So my grandmother made it to 99. I'm not expecting a full 99 personally, but I would like that. No, I'd like that extra 8 years. I would have enjoyed those extra 8 years, but I know statistically I'm not going to get that because I've had enough years of physical shame, of shame and rejection by peers and by teachers, and particularly because I was very articulate, but I wasn't good when it came to putting the work on paper, and the teacher would stand over me and just say, if only you'd try, you could do something. If only you'd try. And I got that all the time. So if we can actually remove some of the barriers by giving them the right font and then giving them a situation where they can succeed, they'd be a lot happier, and we'd be happier. And so now I'm going to show you a few more images to show you why I think these things work. And let's just go to the iPad now. iPad. Here we go, iPad. And, I'll put sound on this too. Oh yeah, sound on that. Okay, iPad and share. Okay, iPad screen mirroring. Okay. All right, here's a few things I've got. Now, do the ABC caps work? And some of you might have seen this before. So on this image, you can see this word rabbit. So I want you to look at the word rabbit and look at the kanji next to it. Look at the hiragana. I mean the katakana. And you can see that the letters on the RABB, IT, they're not perfect, but they're quite regular, and the size is quite regular, and the height of the letters is quite regular. And then if you look at the word Isagi, all three characters are a different size, and the sa is on an angle. The gi is on a different, it's not on a regular angle. And then if you look at the one at the top here, the word parents. Now, one of these is the boy that I discovered that he is when he saw pink highlighter, that worked for him really well. And he suddenly began writing normally when he wrote pink highlighter. And you can see how his word is going up and down. The parents, it's sort of like a valley. It's sort of going, it's swinging. And his kanji shape isn't particularly regular. But the boy who wrote rabbits, 4 years previous to this being done, he had spent 10 minutes at the beginning of every lesson using those bottle caps. He didn't do any writing, he only used the bottle caps. And the teachers from that classroom, that was a special classroom, and the teachers from that classroom said he was always really fast at writing the alphabet. He had the easiest to read English handwriting in the room. And furthermore, his teacher said to me that unsolicited, he came up and he said to me, those green green overlay things you've got, those green filters, when he uses that, he reads in Japanese at twice his normal speed. So until that boy had the situation to overcome his barriers, nobody knew what he was able to do. So this is what, to me, this is proof that the bottle caps work, because we can see the regularity of his letters. The other thing that it is proof to me is because kids are so engaged by it. And so I've done different versions of them. This is another one, which is the a keyboard version, because this was preparing some students for when they were about to start getting their tablets at the beginning of this year. And you can see on here, it's got, I've got a few extra things here, like comma and period mark and question mark, exclamation mark. I've put those on there so that students would be able to name those things. And if you look at this, this is a contrast between plastic letters that you might find and using the open dyslexic font. It's very easy to see which letter is which letter from that. The other thing is a tactile function, and I don't know why this works, but kids are just obsessed with these things, absolutely obsessed with them. And it works so well with a class of, like I've been using these for years with a particular cohort of kids. And one of the teachers from the class with this heart-shaped one, she wasn't particularly sold on the idea, but she decided to try it with her year 4 class. And she found it was really successful. So every time in English, we would start off with a bit of ABC practice, and we would make words, things that came out of the textbook, etc. And then I said to her, do you want to do lowercase? And she said, yes. She said, just give me the prints and I'll get kids to do it during class time, their own time, her time. So she gave up her free time to use for teaching this. And that, to me, that was a huge concession on her part to actually not use English time to do this, but to use her class activity time to do it, because she was so sold on the idea. And then this is an example of, this is my, oops, here we go. This is my, this is one of my second child's writing. And they are dyslexic and dyspraxic. And you can see here, they've been erasing things. There's a lot of erasing marks here because they're so worried about their writing. And I'm pretty certain that this is, they're in Australia at the moment. They were doing, they were studying animation, but they dropped out. And they dropped out because they, their teacher went overseas during term time. And it was their first experience of writing in English after years and years of living in Japan and not really doing much writing in English. And they had difficulty with the writing task, and there wasn't anybody to help. Even though the university knew that they had an issue, they did not have adequate support. And then their ADHD meds ran out. They had tablets, they ran out, and doctors would not give them new medication. They wouldn't accept the evidence that of their ADHD medicine from Japan, because it was in Japanese, you know, and how do we prove it's real? So they missed out on on that medicine for 18 months. So they dropped out of uni, and they've just been working and saving money. And they've just got medicine back again, ADHD medicine back again. And the doctor who prescribed it said, oh, no, they just didn't trust you. There was no reason for them not to give it to you. That particular doctor just didn't trust you. You know, those doctors you spoke to just thought you were flaky. And that made me extremely angry, because they've got a university debt for subjects that they didn't get to complete. They were on an A+ level before the tablets ran out, and they were doing really well. So I find that really annoying, the discrimination that they faced. ADHD doesn't have good press, but something that we all, three little letters we all know at the moment are PCR. And we know those because they were invented by a guy called Carey Nullius. I think it's Carey Nullius. And Nullius, and he invented the PCR test as he was driving in 1983. It just came to him, and he got the Nobel Peace Prize for it in the Nobel Science Award in 1993. But he died in 2019, so he never actually saw the real potential of what he'd invented. And this is and the PCR test has been the thing that has helped the world to do this. And I listened to a talk on ADHD on Friday by Dr. Edward Hallowell, and he said that the inventor of the PCR test was as ADHD as it gets, completely, wildly, ravingly ADHD, but very, very good researcher. And I'd like people to rethink their attitude to it, that the people with ADHD are not space shots. So I'm certainly not a space shot. I've got ADHD, but I do have difficulty organizing things, and I do lose things, but I do notice things that other people don't see, which is why I'm now doing these talks. So, okay, now what was down? Oh, Linda, you wanted to download. Oh, you've got the Open Dyslexic. Okay, that's the font. What's the and what are the other downloads that people want at this point?
PDF.
Anything you want
PDF
from what I've said.
Bottle caps.
Oh, the PDF. Okay, gotcha. All right, I'll go looking for that. Okay, anybody else who wants to ask about these things, just
I seem to be having trouble downloading the Universal Dyslexic font. It doesn't seem to be working on my computer.
Really, that's funny. I downloaded it before and didn't have a problem.
Yeah, I tried to download it before, and I've purchased it, and I don't know where it.
You purchased it?
It's free.
Well, no, I put in a zero for the amount.
Oh, okay, yep.
But I can't find it on my computer now. I thought I downloaded it, but it's just nowhere to be found.
And it's not in your downloads. Oh, has it gone into your fonts menu?
It shouldn't. It's not in my downloads, but we can discuss this later.
Okay. I'm just getting my ABC things. I've just redone them just recently. Oops. Okay, here come the ABC. See if I've got the PDFs in here. Okay, here we go. PDF, A4. I haven't shown you the towels yet either. Okay, I wonder if I can put more. I have to do them one at a time. Okay, ABC. I think I actually should have had the word. Thought I had 2020 in these. Uppercase, lowercase. A4 paper, lowercase. Let's see if you can actually see these. If anybody can try to open these PDFs. See if they work. Problem is I keep, one of the problems with ADHD is I rename something because I think, oh, this is going to be really handy. I better call it that. Yeah, that'll be great. And then I realized that actually, no, I think something else is a better thing to call it.
Alex,
and that is a
when
problem.
I tried to do it, actually the PDF opened with the regular letters, not the
It's because it's a Word file. It's a Word file, Mary, so you have to download the
font.
Don't have Word on my computer.
Oh, hang on a second. But if I do it as a PDF, shouldn't it
Alex,
work?
you need to save it as an RTF document rather than just a regular Word file.
Thank you.
Okay, let me go into.
The PDF file should be fine, though.
Yes, a
PDF is
PDF.
font. The PDFs embed fonts, so it doesn't matter what font you have. It'll show up to
Right.
the end
So the
user.
PDF that you uploaded should be fine.
That's fine. Now the fonts are fine in that one. Yeah.
Are they the PDFs?
Yeah, the
Okay.
PDF is good.
For okay.
But in my Word document, it's fine.
Is that?
So
That
maybe
means you
I
have
did.
the font.
So I have the font. No,
you must have the font.
No, it's not okay. It's using Open Dyslexic. I have the font.
You must do. Okay, let's see if this one's in here.
Can I share my screen?
Yeah, sure. Yep, and I'll keep doing what I'm trying to do to get the other documents out. And if Sam, if you have something to,
I'm sharing the wrong. Let's see here. Can you see?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not the. That must be the one from the Word document.
That's the Word document, and it shows Open Dyslexic up here.
You don't have the font installed, so your display is showing an alternate font instead.
Right.
That's how
Ah,
computers work.
right. So
it shows the font
could you show
name.
how to do that, Sam?
Basically, you have to open the PDF, or you have to install the font. So I'm actually looking at. I'm installing the. I don't have the font installed on this computer. I think I had it on my old computer. So right now I'm installing the font. You have to go put in $0. It'll send you an email and then give you like a link that you can then download. You can choose like which version to download. I've got like Zip, Open Dyslexic 2, Alt A, Mono. I'm not sure what they are. There's like a ton of font options. There's one for iOS. There's like for different computer versions. So I'm not sure which one I'm going to download first. Maybe just the regular.
There are different options. And on a Mac or on Windows, how you install it is different.
Well, basically, it's not really that different for either system. You basically just have to drag that font folder over into your font folder. It's the same for Windows and Macs.
Yeah. So I don't know if I need to restart the computer then.
No. Nope.
Oh, hang on. I've just found some. Okay, I've just found another one here.
Windows, Mac OS, Linux, OT, Linux. I'll download the Mac. There's a few zip files.
Oh, okay.
I'll just download a couple of them. There's one for iOS too. Nice. Android. There's one for Android. 3. Yeah, so once you install the font, the Word file will show up correctly. Otherwise, the PDF file does have the fonts in it, so you can use that to print automatically. The font installation. Downloads.
I did actually have these all prepared in a document. And I can't find it right now. So, but I do have a list of everybody who came here.
Okay.
And I tried this before, and I'm not able to install this font. For some reason, it's just not
Do you
working.
not? You're on a Mac, Lynn. Maybe we could talk later. I think you have to. There's a folder. You have to like review, show a hidden folder in order to see it, to see the font folder.
Okay, so is the font book app not working for installing fonts?
Oh, that should work. How in the past I'm really big on fonts. I haven't done it for a while.
It shows that the font is installed, and it shows it in my computer in the fonts folder. So I don't know if I need to restart the computer.
Shouldn't need to for fonts.
Yeah.
I wonder because there are actually a few versions. I wonder if you're working with a different version.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that could be it because there's about 4 different versions. There was like a version 2, a version 3.
So I just took the top one. But maybe I need the second one, the Alt A or the Mono.
Yeah, the Alt A one has got the rounded A. If you're working with elementary students, that one is definitely the one you want.
if I go to my computer.
Okay. And I think this document I've just downloaded, let me just double check. Okay, that should go, yeah, that takes you to my poster that I did in JALT. Hopefully. Can anybody open that up?
Just opening it.
Okay.
A lot of people have had to leave.
Yeah, that's because of the time.
Yeah, it's getting late.
Okay, yep.
There we go.
Oh,
Okay, yeah, I put this poster in earlier. Alex.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
So
and there's the second. Yep.
In the middle of your speech, I put this poster
Right,
in.
thank you.
So see you
you very
later,
much.
Louise.
Yep, see you, Louise. Thank you for coming. Okay, so if anybody else has a question, otherwise we might leave it at that for the day. And
yeah,
thank you very much to Matsuyama JALT and East Shikoku JALT for hosting this. And I'm hoping I'm getting better at them as the time goes.
Yes.
The cat has clearly had enough. The cat has said that it's time to move on. So.
Okay, well, everyone who's left, let's say a big thank you to Alex. And I'm going to stop the recording.
Unmute yourself so she can hear.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for being patient.
Okay, I'm